All right. Good day, Patreon. I hope you're all doing well. That was some very strange music. The StreamYard picked the music and it's called Into Space. It's very, very bizarre. So I do apologize. It's not something I picked. It was the software picking it. Anyway, today I'm going to go over the Nodal Dragon shift into Aries and Libra. This is for Patreon only. I will be doing a public one in a week or so for the general public, which will be very different than the information you are receiving from me today. It will be very edited, and the general public will only get about 4 predictions. I have about, 26? I thought I was going to have less than I did the last time, but I actually have more. I have about 29 predictions, so there's more that has come out. And we'll go over those. So for the general public, we'll only get about 4 or 5 of those predictions. And I'm kind of freaking out at the moment because I'm doing these for you. I'm getting ready to post for you guys. And 2 things have already made the headlines, probably not in the mainstream media, but that talk about Putin's health. The other one talks about corruption with the police and politicians, and it comes back to Breonna Taylor. And I'll include those videos in there for you to look at. So sometimes when we're in a nodal dragon shift, the energy takes on a couple of months beforehand. So I'm not saying that Scorpio and Taurus aren't going to go out like a lion. They will. But you're already seeing the energies of the Aries Libra dragon in effect as well. And I'm going to give you those examples in a little bit. Let me go up here. Alrighty, so we have a nodal shift coming. I do these every 18 months for you guys into Aries Libra. I call this the changing of the guards. And every 18 months, the universal dragon energy shifts. Now, these past 18 months have brought many things to light. Anytime you have a Taurus, Scorpio, dragon axis, secrets will get exposed. And even the rich and the famous, they get wake-up calls because no matter how wealthy one is, you cannot hide from a Scorpio dragon's tail. Donald Trump comes to mind with this. There's a couple of other politicians that come to mind with this, not just him. You cannot run and you cannot hide from this energy. Modern astrology pays very little attention to these nodal shifts. Vedic, which is on the sidereal, Babylonian, Occidental or Chinese astrology, Draconian, which is not practiced as much anymore, and divine astrology, which is the Nostradamus method, are the only ones that pay any attention to the north and south nodes and their housing systems. And before I go on, I want to say this. This is why, therefore, the accuracy of um, predictions in the ancient method are far better and far more spot on than in modern astrology. Now, I'm not saying that modern astrology doesn't give good predictions, they do. But what I am saying is the ancient methods are a little more spot on, especially when you incorporate any kind of a draconian energy into it. Okay, moving right along. In Vedic astrology, astronomically, Rahu and Ketu denotes the points of intersection of the paths of the sun and the moon as they move on the celestial sphere. Therefore, Rahu and Ketu are respectively called the north and the south lunar nodes. Rahu is responsible for causing the eclipses of the sun. Nostradamus was able to create astrological predictions through incorporating a few ancient methods of astrology to work very well under the tropical zodiac. He took draconian methods which represent the soul's purpose in life, mixed it with the teachings of the dragon's energy of Chinese astrology, and used the Babylonian ancient method and power of the dragon's placements to see into the future of how all these energies will affect mankind by house, sign, and some degrees. And let's also remember that where did the Babylonian method is the most ancient method. It was given to the Babylonians by the Sumerians. And contrary to what some people say, oh, the Sumerians were here maybe 7,000 years ago, that is simply not true. The Sumerians have been here for over 100 to 200,000 years. There is a whole lost um, cycle of information about a world before this one that was destroyed with a flood, yes. And that also includes Atlantis, Lemuria, or the island Mu, what they used to call Mu, which is Lemuria. The ancients and the Hawaiians from that area used to call Lemuria Mu, in my understanding. It's something I just learned a couple of weeks ago, which was fascinating. But um, this is how Nostradamus was able to do it. He pulled from several different modalities of astrology, but what a lot of people don't realize with Nostradamus is that he was a warlock within his own right. He was a scryer. He scryed. He could see into the future by scrying. He had abilities and gifts, and he kept those under wraps, and he kept his writings as a bunch of riddles, and that was so he could save his own behind, because the church would have killed him. Um, only other thing I want to say about Nostradamus, and I give you this example, okay? Before I go on and talk about this Taurus Scorpio axis that's ending and the new one coming, I want to say this. There are a lot of TV shows out there that give a lot of false information about the Great Seer. Now, no, I did not know him personally or anything like that, obviously. But as an individual who has been trained in his ancient method of astrology, I've learned and gotten to know some things about the Great Seer that mainstream has manipulated. And what I mean by that is there are tons of things out there on Nostradamus. There's one show called Nostradamus End of Days. Now, Nostradamus does predict the end of the world, but it's not until the year like 37, 35. Okay. Um, so, what I'm trying to say here, there are religious zealots that take his work and twist and manipulate it to serve their own agenda. So, you see where I'm going with this? So, shows like Nostradamus End of Days, there may be a few bits and pieces that are important. And let's use this as an example. That date I gave you that Nostradamus predicted some sort of Teutonic energy. What date was that? I said it was in May. It was like May 11th through the 17th. And this reason this came at me was because someone who's friends with a friend of mine who's a modern astrologer was talking about this show, and they were documenting the degrees of this show. And yes, 20 degrees in Taurus does put the energy smack dab in the middle of a Uranic phase, which rules earthquakes. Now, the interesting part of this is there were some events that took place scientifically under the ocean at that time. There was the crack in the Pacific with that fuel, or what do you call it? Ocean residue coming up. And then something was going on the other side of the Pacific near Australia. So there were energies moving under the water, Teutonic energies, but nothing devastating happened, thank God. So what I'm trying to say is really be careful where you're getting your information from, because there's an agenda of fear and fear mongering. I do not believe that there is an end of the world. I mean, we may become extinct, but the earth will go on. Um, I don't believe that Jesus is coming back. He's already finished his mission and he is not returning. If you believe that, so be it. But there's nothing to return to. Nobody's walking in Christ's footsteps. Nobody is living in compassion and kindness. Hell, if I was Christ, I wouldn't come back either. So there's that myth as well. There's a lot of things that we have not been told, myself included. Once you study Hermetics and Hermetic teachings and read the Emerald Tablets and learn about Hermetic laws, it does kind of change your viewpoint of the world a little bit. It even changes my witchcraft a little bit. Um, it was very liberating. And that is the goal here, to liberate our minds, liberate ourselves from ignorance and stupidity. So, once again, when you're watching anything on Nostradamus, just put a little logic and reason into things. Nostradamus was not a religious man. He wasn't a heathen either. I almost think there might have been extraterrestrial influence there to give him that knowledge and power. Okay. Um, but just be discerning when you see stuff about him, because sometimes it's been infiltrated by Christian doctrines and Christian views, and he was not a Christian. So there's that. Okay, moving on now. My spiel is over. Okay, moving on. Let me take a sip of this. Okay, the Taurus-Scorpio axis. So let's talk about where this dragon's tail has been for the past 18 months. Scorpio is either the eagle, which is positive, or the lizard, negative, of the zodiac. This dragon's tail will represent the lizard energy and all the negative it has brought. Now, Scorpio rules metaphysics, witchcraft, the underworld, investigations, investments, mortgages, cemeteries, morticians, insurance, police, CIA, FBI, IRS, rules the mafia, rules the sex industry, and dramatic news where death and drama takes center stage. This is also where the witchcraft community takes a big hit in some ways. This is where we saw lawlessness that will arise, and the possibility of civil war was not off the table. Deep and hidden secrets are brought to light in this energy. So brace yourselves for unsettling news about children, sex trafficking, police, disgracefulness, and violence, and exposure of politicians, celebrities, and religious figures will all make headlines. And some headlines, I will say, were suppressed by the mainstream media. For example, one of the headlines that was suppressed was, and you can go back and look at the last dragon energy. I posted articles down below for this quatrain and energy, but there was like the Southern Baptist Church got busted for over 4950 sexual assaults on minors. The Jehovah's Witnesses, something about them happened in Philadelphia, and they're saying that one more sex scandal for the Jehovah's Witnesses is going to like crush them. Let's hope so. I'm rooting for that one. But this dragon's energy was unkind and unfeeling energy. The United States, let's talk about them for a minute. The United States is a Cancer nation, and this dragon's tail energy has been sitting on the USA's fifth house of love, children, creativity, and joy. We have seen an unloving energy of children, women, draconian laws that have gone into effect regarding childbearing and women's rights, abortion, women's health, hormone therapies, new laws enforcing child labor and illegal labor of children under 17 years of age. And then there's a full-on assault on the LGBTQIA community as well. And unfortunately, that is going to continue straight through 2023, and on into 2024. Our LGBTQIA community are in danger. If you're following me here, you are probably um, steered to a more progressive point of view in life. Um, Not that conservative viewpoints are completely wrong. I believe in being fiscally conservative and socially liberal, meaning accepting of all people, but fiscally conservative. But we've come to a tipping point here where you need to choose which side of history you're going to be on. Are you going to be on the side of history where you infiltrate and bring about the rising of Hitler's spirit once again? Or you're going to be on the other side of history where you will fight against fascism, racism, bigotry, homophobia, xenophobia, and basically Nazism. I say this because I have my own relatives who escaped Italy before Mussolini and Hitler ever got into um, office or reign. They left in the late 20s and they got out just in the nick of time. Some of my relatives weren't so lucky, and those were some very, very dark, dark days for Italy. I hear the stories from the, the elders who are no longer here anymore that have told me the stories. So, yeah, we're in some very incredibly scary times. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. The main reason they want to eliminate TikTok, we're going to talk about TikTok for a minute, is because there is a big decline in how many people are viewing mainstream media and receiving their news from independent news facilities all over TikTok. I follow news on TikTok. I follow Vice World News, and I follow WION, which is based out of India. I'm getting better news from foreign adversaries, so to speak. I'm getting better news outside. We are being lied to in the United States. Our billionaires and our millionaires are the ones that control the information, so they're controlling what you're listening to. And there's a lot of things, and that's one of the reasons they're coming after TikTok. It's because a lot of people are heading to independent news. People are getting wise to this. The days of hiding are over. If you are in the public or a public figure, you are being watched carefully under a microscope. And there's always going to be someone there ready to expose you, whether you're having a good day or a bad day. Now, with this energy that we are in, the Taurus Scorpio energy, this is where platonic souls have feasted as psychic vampires, often with resentful, jealous, and dangerous tactics. Souls have been without any fear of laws, and there is no regard for the law. A natural lust for death and drama has prevailed. Metaphysical powers have been used in the wrong manner and used to control, harm, and manipulate others. We have seen the suggestions from the preacher men and the men at the pulpits that want witch hunts to be resurrected and that our LGBTQIA community should be executed. I mean, these are men of God, supposedly, that sit at the pulpit and tell their flock this, their flock of weak-minded people. There's also some sexual diseases that were once thought to be eradicated are going to resurface and make headlines, and they have. Just go to my last dragon energy forecast, and you can see all the things that have happened. The dragon's head has been in Taurus, and this is a very Venus energy. This is a beautiful energy, an earthy dragon where we will put more focus on things that make us feel more beautiful, more sexy, even rich. I know a lot of us, myself included, go if you feel you want that one expensive bag, buy it. There's nothing wrong with having quality over quantity. I personally would rather have 4 or 5 pairs of good, expensive quality shoes than 20 pairs of cheap, cheap shoes. But that's me. But that's the kind of energy we have been in. We're going to be putting more focus on things that make us feel happy and beautiful. With this dragon, be prepared for earth changes as volcanoes, tornadoes, hurricanes, and stress on the fault lines will be common. We've already seen that, earthquakes in Turkey. Lots of volcanoes have been erupting since this dragon's energy hit in January of 2022. Lots of earth changes. Plus, Uranus is still in Taurus, creating more earth changes. Um, so together, Taurus and Uranus, these two will make the earth shake a little bit. Taurus does rule beauty, banking, finance, money, wealth, and possessions. And what have we heard all about this past year? Crypto, currency, CBDC. We will see a change in the banking system, and currency issues leading to a new currency are very possible. CBDC. This is also changing the way we bank. Next year at this time, we will be banking very differently. Very differently. People are going, this past year and a half, we've been shopping more for vintage goods. A lot of people have bought more precious metals. Taurus does rule gemology and metals in some ways, so it makes sense to be stocking up on gold and silver. It rules antiques and all sorts of new technology in the beauty and aesthetics world will be introduced. Now, I'm going to say this because I can admit it. Um, there have been some new things introduced into the aesthetic world. I just recently had a medical facial about a month and a half ago, and I did have some fillers put in. It wasn't Botox because I really do have a big issue with injecting botulism into my freaking head. Sorry, that is just me. But I did have something that was a little more organic and made with hyaluronic acid, which is a natural, it's more natural than botulism. And I did that because I got sick of watching the lines on my forehead. I mean, I still have them, and I told them I'm not trying to look 30 years younger. I just want you to take the lines and reduce them on my forehead and the crow's feet, and it worked. I'm satisfied. I'm happy. I told them I am a person of expression, so I don't want to have a poker face. So what I'm saying is advancements with beauty. There's all kinds of new facials are coming up. There's facials on that menu I never even heard of before. New technology in the aesthetic world. This is where Switzerland, which is a tourist nation, can make the headlines, and it did when Tina Turner died. I know it did at the beginning of the year as well with something. I can't remember what it was. I think I documented it in the last newsletter about the dragon's energy. Now, even though England is a Capricorn nation well before there were ever any borders or boundaries that existed, the United Kingdom was formed on May 1st, 1707, and will make headlines in the next 18 months. Well, what happened in the last 18 months? We had the death of Queen Elizabeth II, and a new King Charles is crowned. Now, many souls with this energy have been able to make millions with this energy. This is where the rich lose money and the poor can gain money. Hold on, I'm just making a correction on my newsletter. All right. So yes, this is where millions could be made with genius ideas in business and investing in other people's money. It is the year of the entrepreneur, or it was the year of the entrepreneur. Hard work will bring love and respect to others, and this placement signals where the rich suffer financially and the poor benefit monetarily, which I just said. This Many of us will get creative, and that creativity brings financial freedom and happiness. Now, the dragon was directly hunting for all November and May born souls this past 18 months. We all felt this energy, but those born with Scorpio or Taurus energy, a moon, a sun, a rising, a natal or hidden dragon placement in Scorpio or Taurus, have felt this more than others. I also will say that for the past 18 months, our platonic phases have been stronger, deadlier, and more violent than we have ever seen before. What this means is knowing those days of caution and your own negative and positive days will help you get through a very rough phase coming up I said for 2022 and 2023, and it was a rough phase for all of us. All right, the changing of the guards. The next nodal shift is on July 17th, 2023, and it moves into an Aries Libra axis. It will stay in this placement for 18 months and moves again on January 12th, 2025. The Aries Libra dragon's energy will be directly hunting for all Aries, Libras, and those born with the sun, moon, rising, or hidden dragon in Libra and Aries will feel this energy the strongest. Now, Aries is one of two things. They are the toddler of the zodiac, but they're also the warrior of the zodiac and the ruler of the first house. So, toddler when they're young, warrior when they're older. And I'll go through one of these days. Let me get through all this, and I'm going to go through the 3 stages of each sign. This placement in its positive will always signify the potential for growth, individuality, being more assertive, having more courage, using intuition, and not intuition, excuse me, using initiation. And let's face it, Aries are known for developing independence, self-confidence, and taking the initiative in their own lives. This energy encourages individuals and communities to embrace their individuality, pursue their passions, and assert their needs and desires in a healthy and balanced way. Aries North Node is all about inventions, new leadership, and new leaders, the military, and new adventures and discoveries. We will hear about military advancements with weapons and fleets and even stronger armies. This is a warlike energy, as Aries is ruled by Mars, the Lord of War. This is also where the planet Mars will make major headlines with news of both positive and negative. These next 18 months, be prepared for some interesting things to be taking place with Mars. The possibility of an increase in wildfires, explosions, violence, and warfare can be common at this time. Before I go on, let me just explain this. So think of it this way. Got the dragon's head in Aries ruled by Mars. Okay, it's technically in its positive, but bad things happen in the positive too. Okay, then you've got the tail sitting in Libra, which is ruled by Venus. Venus is the goddess of love, romance, creativity. It rules the arts and the aesthetic world. So this is where that energy is going to take a hit in the tail. Venus, it will be everything the opposite of Venus has to offer will come at us in a more negative way. And everything that Mars has to offer us in a more positive way can come at us. But please remember, as we go on, there aren't too many people that know the cosmic biorhythms and energies that flow here. So, okay, where was I? There is also the possibility of many countries becoming very competitive with one another. We're seeing it already with the United States and China. Over currency, geopolitical issues, semiconductors, precious metals, and a space race can ensue too. This is where the negative can prevail, as Aries is not known for its patience, its diplomacy, or grace. And wars, battles, and dogfights can ensue with this energy. If that's, just be prepared for it. Try to avoid it, but know the energies at hand and be prepared. And this is what I wanted to say. Just because the dragon is riding its head does not mean tragedy and sadness will not occur. We have to remember most of the world has no cosmic consciousness and doesn't understand the cosmic energies that are afoot, and therefore creates tragedy. I even see it in the witch community that scoff and laugh at me for learning this, type of astrology. But I even see it in the witch community. As soon as Mercury retrograde goes around, I see old issues being coming back to the surface in that circle of people. It's like, oh my God, they're witches, but they still don't realize that they're robots to their own stars. I find it amusing. The dragon's tail, which is the south node, will be in Libra, creating an energy full of arguments, indecisiveness, chaos, unbalanced energies, and souls that feel that they are above the law in some ways. Libra is the ruler of the seventh house of partnerships, contracts, and marriage. I want you all to think of the Justice card in the tarot deck. Libra is Lady Justice and rules the laws and judicial system. This is the sign of diplomacy, justice, laws, and compassion. However, when the energies are riding the tail, everything can be quite the opposite. We will see lots of injustices occur, fighting, lack of empathy, lack of strength, no regard for laws, mass manipulation, and deep guilt can prevail for the world at large. Nations such as Germany, Scandinavia, Denmark, and Algeria could also make headlines in the next 18 months. It will be the Aries and Libra nations that will feel this energy the most. Those are the ones that will make headlines. The months that will have the most impact on the world at large will be October and November 2023, March and April 2024, and September, October 2024. We will see an alliance of two nations form, but we're also going to see it quickly be broken as one nation will devour the other. I think this could mean China and Taiwan. That's what comes to mind. I'm not saying that's not in my predictions either, per se, but Taiwan's not a superpower like China. So the United States is going to feel this energy on its 10th house of public presence, accomplishments, achievements, goals, and opportunities. The USA will be under the public microscope for its people, from its people to its political leaders, and especially its military. We as a nation already look like a clown car filled with stupidity and ignorance. And if we do not behave publicly, this country will get exposed even more for its corruptions, and an uprising of its citizens is very possible. This does signify revolutionary energy too. There's an uprising coming. Oops. There's an uprising coming. The dragon's tail will be on the United States' fourth house. This is the house of home, family, security, mother energy, real estate, and housing. This is where wars can break out. I'm going to add one more thing to this while I'm doing this. This dragon's tail, like I said, this is security, but it's also food, because I do see food inequality coming. This is where wars can break out, revolutions begin, alliances are broken, and so are many contracts that were once thought to be solid and binding. This country is not in a good place. Financially, mentally, and democratically, it is very flawed. The nation is divided. Civil war is imminent, and that is all over the world, as you've just seen in Russia with the Wagner Group. along with many other countries. Once again, I repeat myself, this is a warlike energy, not just for the United States, but for the world at large. It's just that the warlike energy is going to come within our fourth house in some ways. Um, even though the tail's in Libra, it's a warlike energy. It's people are divided. I added an article in to this, so you'll want to go and read my newsletter because I'm not going to get into it. It's an article published by the Conversation in States, and it's a global ranking of the United Nations official Office of Sustainable Development. And it says that the United States has dropped to the 41st worldwide, down from its previous ranking of 32. Under this methodology, an expansive model of 17 categories and goals was the focus. And the U.S. ranks between Cuba and Bulgaria now, which are widely regarded as developing countries, which is a nice way of saying they are a third world country. So we are, contrary to what we think, we're marking, I'm the best, we're the best. No, honey, you're not the best. We are illiterate. We are lacking in, we don't thrive anymore. We make nothing anymore. We don't do great things anymore. Um, and that's just the way it is. We are in a decline. And it probably be these next 18 months where the ones who had their heads up their asses are start finally going, holy shit, it's a humanity issue. So go in and read that article. It's very interesting. But the general security of a nation will be in the headlines, from a major collapse of the banking system, the housing market. There'll be mass homelessness, displaced families, and even the beginning of mass hunger due to food inequality. Remember, we humans have the power to change the outcome of these dragon energies, but remember, less than 1% know about these cosmic winds. I've also incorporated the eclipses in for you for 2023, 2024, so you get an idea. October 28th, there's a lunar eclipse in Taurus, and this will be like, I see the final nail in the coffin for the American dollar. It won't disappear right away, especially in the rural areas. Those will be the last people to get on board with any kind of digital currency. But my understanding is there is a big, I didn't put this in the newsletter, so my understanding is there is a big revolt against CBDC. So when the federal government starts issuing this around, something's major is getting ready to happen around July 26th of this year. It has to do with the banking system. It may be the banks freeze your accounts, God forbid, but that is a possibility. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Get as much money out of your banks as possible. You're better off keeping it in cash than keeping it in the bank. I wouldn't keep any more than $5,000 in the bank to pay bills and whatnot. I would even keep less than that. I'm keeping just a minimum of $1,000 every month just to pay bills for the month. That's it. Everything else I'm paying with cash or a digital currency card, like my Bitcoin card. I have a Bitcoin credit card. Things like that. I'm trying to use more digital currency and cash for now, because I am trying to send a big message to the federal government that they can keep their crappy, shitty central bank digital currency. Feds can keep that. You're not spying on me. Okay, I said my little speech. But anyway, those are the eclipses, and I think the lunar one on October 28th in Taurus is going to have significant impact. Okay, getting to the best part of it all. Here are your forecast and predictions for the 2023-2024 Libra Aries Dragon Shift axis. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here and then we'll get going. All right, number one. Love becomes hate, harmony becomes chaos, and balance becomes very unbalanced and erratic. Um, this would be the best time for all of you to, especially if you have energies of Aries and Libra in your chart strongly, um, get out there and do something that calms you down, relaxes you, whether that's meditation, whether that's swimming, whether that's mountain biking. Find your happy place, go to it, because you're going to need that for these next 18 months. All individuals born in October or in April and in the sun sign of Aries and Libra, or born with that moon and rising natal or hidden dragon in one of these two signs, are going to feel this dragon's impact. Now, any of you have a dragon's head and tail in this energy, or have a sun sign, you're really going to need to know your lucky and unlucky dragon days, so you can use them both to protect yourself from danger, but also use them to your advantage, because Aries is about um, moving forward, grabbing it, grabbing your dreams, grabbing that energy, grabbing that destination of success. It's drive, it's determination. So it's good to know those dates. Your lucky and unlucky dragon days will come in very handy. There will be an increase. Number 3, there will be an increase in divorces and breakups. It's a good time to be a divorce attorney. They're going to make bank in the next 18 months. A lot of split ups and breakups are going to be coming, divorces. The death and the ending. This is something, I'm posting something right next to it because something's already come out about this. The death or ending of Vladimir Putin and his reign. He could suffer health issues, which I believe he has cancer, and self-esteem issues as he loses power over Russia and more civil unrest and civil war prevails. A new day will dawn for Russia in the summer of 2024. It's like a new Russia emerges. Number 5, we will hear of more issues with addictions, kidney problems, kidney disease, head and brain injuries, along with back problems too. It's on the medical aspect. And there will be medical advancements. Number 6, there will be medical advancements pertaining to the brain and face, as Aries does rule the head and the brain in the astromedi world. So you'll hear about all kinds of incredible advancements with brain injuries, and it rules the brain and the face. So this can also, rule aesthetics as well. Even though Taurus rules aesthetics, Aries rules the face. Taurus rules ears, nose, and throat. Number 7, civil war for many parts of the world, and that does include the USA. It has already begun in the monetary markets, but the dragon hunts for USA's 4th house of security, real estate, and housing. That brings me to number 8. The United States has a real estate and housing crisis, but nothing as severe as the 2028, 2029. But we're going to see, I'm adding this in, we're going to see the greedy become more greedy and just raise rents to just a ridiculous amount of money, forcing people to be more homeless. Now, I've heard people say, well, that's what the going rate is for this area. Well, you know what? Fuck your area. Pardon my French. I mean, if you're price gouging people, if a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in California rents for $3,400, it deserves to have an earthquake and fall into the ocean. Sorry, but the greedy will get their day. It's coming. So don't sit there and tell me that's the going rate, because even here in my state, greedy people from California are buying up property and jacking up the price. It's just scandalous. And I understand, the fine art of capitalism. Everybody needs capitalism to make money. But there is a fine line between capitalism and fucking greed. Pardon my French. All right. I get a little upset with that one. Number 9. The world gets manipulated by looking only one way and listening only to mainstream media. Unfortunately, this lack of attention results in 2 classes: the working poor and the very rich. This is where the middle class dies. This is the dragon that kills the middle class. So for those of you out there, um, while mainstream media is plugging something like a submarine with rich men in it, plugging it and plugging it and plugging it, you're going to have to go and look the other way and see what they're doing behind the scenes. So while give you a perfect example, while the whole submarine thing was going on behind the scenes, if you follow the SEC, if you follow the Monetary Forum, International Monetary Forum, this is where the elites were making decisions about the future of money, okay? Distracting you with a submarine, um, things like that. So while you're hearing things on mainstream media, you've got to go and look the other way. But this is where the middle class goes to die. By the end of this phase, we will probably have the very wealthy, and there's going to be a big boom of new millionaires coming because there's a crypto bull run coming that are going to turn poor men into rich men. Mars, number 10. Mars will make headlines, both positive and negative. Lots of things are coming in about Mars. This could mean a multitude of things. Us going to Mars, something they found on Mars. Mars. We're going to hear a lot about it. Number 11. The fall of a large Asian superpower. I've put Russia, North Korea, and Japan in parentheses. This could also affect the U.S.'s global dominance, but you also want to keep an eye on Taiwan too. This can also pertain to prediction number 4 as well. Number 12, an increase in wildfires, especially in the spring, summer of 2024. They will begin earlier than usual. This also means your own home too, so get your smoke detectors checked. Number 13, there will be an increase in solar storms these next 18 months, and that might create some problems with communication, power grids, things like that. Number 14, now I see this closer to 2025, but I felt I should put it in here. King Charles abdicates the throne due to health, personal conflict, and hatred from his fellow countrymen. I foresee this more at the end of 2024 and into 2025, but events leading up to this are all connected. Number 15, the Church of England has a constitutional crisis, and Great Britain does not look good in the public eye these next 18 months. The country suffers as unemployment rises and the health of a nation suffers. This will be the working class that truly suffer. And I do foresee in parentheses that the monarchy being eradicated. Yes, you've heard me say it. I do foresee the monarchy being eradicated by the end of 2044. Yes, it'll be another 25 years before it happens, but I do see it coming. Alliances are quickly made. Number 16, excuse me. Alliances are quickly made, but quickly broken too. Groups and organizations that were once solid fall apart. Number 17, Hitler's spirit is alive and well, and we will see an increase in more hatred, hate crimes, white supremacy, and bigotry. Number 18, Libra rules justice, and the laws that have been broken will be exposed. Number 19, and this kind of pertains to each other, 18 and 19. Laws will be broken or disregarded, but in the end, justice will prevail as more exposure of crooked cops, politicians, and clergy make headlines. This is both 18 and 19 are very similar, and I'm going to share something with you that's already broke, and this has to do with Breonna Taylor. When you hear the shocking news I've discovered this morning about that, it really pertains to number 18 and 19. Number 20, There will be too much time and energy given to all the wrong causes. And that's true. I already see it. And what I mean by the wrong causes, we're focused on banning books and getting rid of information and putting our time and our energy into all the wrong causes. Banning books, banning our LGBTQIA um, world. And all I'm trying to say is the United States and the world at large is suffering. Most Americans don't give a rat's ass about the book, banning of books and the LGBTQIA. They, live and let live. They don't care. More people are more worried about high cost of food, high cost of rent, um, not having health insurance. So what I mean by this is there will be too much time and energy given to all the wrong causes. Number 21, there could be a war brewing between October 23rd and April of 2024, and it is linked to the Russia-Ukraine in some small way. I'm not saying there will, but if there's a world war to break out, that would be the window. I personally don't think world war is breaking out till about 2025, maybe 2026, but I could be wrong. Next up is number 22. SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, will make shocking headlines, and some will be removed via assassination, impeachment, and resignation. A great revolt comes from the people of the USA in regards to the Supreme Court of the United States. This is a court that is very compromised right now, and it's operating under a faction of Christian nationalism and white extremism. It's not good. And please remember where that dragon's tail is, Libra. What does Libra rule? It rules courts, laws, and justice, and also represents court justices. So this is it. There's a few that are going to go bye-bye. 23. An alliance begins between two nations, but only one prevails as a true leader. 24. A new presidential family enters the White House. Now, this could also mean Kamala Harris, the VIP of the United States, that takes over, because I do not see Biden even taking on a second term, let alone maybe finishing this one. I will have to look into Joe Biden's stars. I haven't really done that, but something is going to change here. Number 25. Now, this one is not a prediction. This is a possibility, but not really a full-blown prediction. The USA loses its democracy and begins to fall into imperialism and fascism. In parentheses, I have put, this only happens if the people do not rise up, and they will rise up. Number 26, the art and arts world is directly hunted for, and this also includes the LGBTQIA communities too, so be safe. With the tail in Venus, Venus usually rules aesthetics, beauty, and the arts. That's going to be under scrutiny right now. That's even theater and thespians. Theater world is the art world as well. That's going to be under scrutiny. And as we proceed forward here, if we let more and more people like the Mothers for Liberty, that group, Mothers for Liberty, they're a bunch of idiotic women. If we continue to let these draconian, drastic, very right-wing conservative laws go into effect, then yes, there will be a decline in the arts world, where we can't go to museums and see beautiful art. Oh, because, that one's, this is, art. It's freedom of expression. So this is a nude picture. There's an infiltration of this right-wing puritanical religious uprising that's happening, and it's being um, crammed down everybody's throat. So yes, the arts world is directly hunted for, and that includes the LGBTQIA community. That includes actors and thespians and musicians and singers. They're all going to be coming under scrutiny from these hard right-wing extremist groups. So if we don't stand up and rise up, we will be moving into fascism. Number 27, political figures prove to be ineffectual and show their true colors for only serving themselves, their lobbyists, and not the people. There will be exposure coming out about this in the year to come. Number 28, famous people such as Madonna could make more headlines with mental issues, depression, and health problems, especially head injuries. Now, with Madonna going to the hospital, this is a precursor of things to come for Madonna. Too bad she's not cosmically conscious with all of her money. But this dragon is directly hunting for her third house of mental clarity, communication, transportation. She needs to watch. Hopefully, she doesn't get in a car accident. If you are a Leo, you got to watch it. I'll explain more in a minute. But that's number 28. Last but not least, number 29. And I'm hoping this is maybe the last time I ever have to talk about him. Because I think in 2-3 years from now, he'll just be a distant memory or nightmare. December 2023 will be the worst month of Donald Trump's entire life. And this will show that just because you're rich and famous doesn't mean you are not susceptible to the laws. You have to follow them as well. This individual learns quickly that it's very different running a country from a business. You could be corrupt in business. As for being corrupt with a country, yes, you can do that too. But if you go farther down the rabbit hole, you will see that Trump has been involved with the Russians for many, many years. All right, so I did something a little different for this year's. So I not only included your predictions, I also included your forecast for all of you by house and sign. So let's go through that. Forecast for Aries, Libra, axis by house and sign. So for Aries, this dragon is right on you, the first house. For all Aries and April-born souls, many changes are ahead in how you appear, your soul's purpose in life, and what course of direction one will take. This placement gives you the tools to succeed. The tail will sit in the 7th house of marriage, partnerships, and contracts. Some Aries will get divorced these next 18 months. Some will be changing business partners and new contracts will be signed. This is where we wish Aries the best of luck. Taurus. All May souls born will feel this energy on their 12th house of the subconscious. This is not the best place to have this placement, but it's even worse for your polar opposite, Scorpio. The mind will be strong and filled with deep subconscious downloads and deeper interests in spirituality. Just steer clear of feeding into fear. Be careful of hidden enemies who want to destroy you, because they are lurking. There's people behind the scenes waiting for you to slip up and fail. The tails received in Taurus's 6th house. This is the house of health and service to the world. So there will be some Tauruses that will be leaving new jobs, will be leaving old jobs for new ones, and others could be dealing with a health issue. Let's hope not, but it is time for Taurus to get fit and healthy. Gemini, new opportunities are ahead with social circles, new friendships, and Gemini definitely gets one of their wishes these next 18 months. The tail is felt on the 5th house of love, romance, children, creativity. And this is where that tail is where it tests your strength, so to speak, with every sign. And some Geminis will have breakups, Children can bring stressful news, and you might even feel a lack of joy at this time. Do not let the dragon's tail throw you into any negative mindset. Take the lessons that will be learned these next 18 months as growth and progress forward. Cancer. New opportunities will be given to Cancer souls with career, public standing, goals, and achievements. The dragon graces your 10th house, Cancer, and many opportunities will come your way these next several months. The tail is received in the 4th house, creating an insecurity with home, real estate, family issues, the mother figure, and deep emotional issues can arise. So Cancer may have to deal with mother issues in some ways, taking care of mom a little more. You'll have to be strong, Cancer, and stay balanced and grounded as much as possible with this energy. Now, Leo, new opportunities are ahead for all August born souls to better their education, to travel to exotic places, and make good connections with foreigners and foreign lands. The dragon's head is right on your 9th house, giving you the drive and the determination to achieve success. Now, Leos will feel the tail on their 3rd house of mental clarity, transportation, and communication. So, what this means is for Leos, you're going to be a little more fragile these next 18 months because that dragon's riding your 3rd house of mental clarity. So, this is where depression could set in, mental breakdowns, issues with siblings can occur, but also, and one main thing I need to point out here, you need to watch the road very, very carefully as accidents can become very common. Some Leos will be losing their lives because of this dragon and get into car accidents and die. So please, Leo, watch the road. Virgo. September born souls will feel this dragon's head on their 8th house of legacy, life, death, rebirth, and transformations. Some Virgos could receive inheritances, joint money. You could get, your spouse or partner gets an inheritance and you benefit, joint money, tax refunds, or hear of a death news of some sort. Just make sure it's not you that is in the news, Virgo, as this tail is received on the 2nd house of money and wealth, and challenges will be set in place in regards to money and finances. Sometimes we will have to spend against our will, and sometimes money comes back to us in a karmic way. So good luck to Virgo. And what I mean by this is, let me give you a perfect example of something, Virgo. When I had the dragon's tail sitting in my 2nd house, when it was in Aquarius, I sat there going, great, I'm up against some hard financial times. But karmically speaking, I was paid back in some ways because I got like an IRS check for like $5,000, something they made a mistake on. So what I mean is, if you do good things in life, that good karma will come back in some ways. Libra. The tail in Libra will be sitting right on all Libras, testing your soul's purpose in life. And many Libras, after this dragon has passed, may find themselves with a change of plans and even new ideas for the future. The Aries dragon sits right on your 7th house, Libra, and this could mean wedding bells for some Libras. They could find their life partner. They could receive advancements with business, and partnerships are all possible with this energy. Signing contracts will also be on the agenda. And my dyslexia set in, and I put singing contracts. Good luck, Libra. Scorpio. It will be very important for all Scorpios to not feed into any deep subconscious fears, as your 12th house of the subconscious can become very vulnerable to these energies. This is probably next to the dragon directly hunting for Aries and Libra. The next two signs that this dragon's going to hunt for will be Scorpio and Taurus. Um, for Taurus, it's their sixth house of health and service to the world. And for Scorpio, it's going to be your subconscious mind. This is a worst placement, is the 12th house. The tail in the 12th is the worst placement for any sign to be. So this is where subconscious fears can make you become very vulnerable to these energies. You're a water sign, so you're going to need to stay grounded and focused, but you're also going to need to watch your back, Scorpio, because there are hidden enemies afoot that want to get you. Now, the dragon's head is received on your sixth house of health and service to the world, and new job opportunities could be ahead, and better health too. Scorpio will have to watch their mental health and state of mind, as this dragon's tail is in their 12th house and loves to instill a whole lot of self-doubt. It loves to instill fear. It likes to give you hidden enemies wherever it can. You have to rise above this. You have to stay grounded. You have to not feed into fear. Okay. You can do this. And I've gotten through this energy too. Okay. When I had, let's see, I'm trying to think when it was. The last time I had this energy, I got a lot of deep downloads as well. So remember, Scorpio, even though the tail is sitting there, you will be very vulnerable to more spiritual downloads. So some meditation would go a long way here. Hang in there, Scorpio. Sagittarius. Many Sagittarians will be in love or find love as this dragon moves through the fifth house of love, romance, children, and creativity. Good news with children will bring much happiness, and some will be expecting their own children. So some Sagittarians could be with child this year. Creativity flows too. Now the tail will be felt on your 11th house, and this is the house of friends and wishes. So some friends will be leaving your life, and it might not be it. Let me rephrase this. Some friends will be leaving your life, and it might be time to eliminate some of those people from your own life, as those souls do not serve your best interest or greater good. The ones that are true friends will stay, and the bond of friendship will never be broken. Some people are here for a season and others a lifetime. But this Sagittarius, romance and children flourish this next year and a half. Capricorn. Now, many Cappies will be buying or selling homes and real estate, moving, or have an opportunity for general security. Now, this energy is right on your fourth house of home, family, real estate, emotional foundations. This is also mother figure too. So try to keep the verbal talk as calm as possible, because Aries can create fighting in the home. And also watch for fires within the home too. This also is where uh, your polar opposite Cancer is going to have to deal with parental issues. So are you, Capricorn. You're both not getting away with it in some ways. Okay. The parents are going to need more attention at this time. So, and this is because the tails received for Capricorns on the 10th. And this is the house of parental energy. It is a parental house. Capricorn is the father of the zodiac. Cancer is the mother. Capricorn is also the devil of the zodiac. But the tails received in the 10th. So this is where parental energy, career, and public standing. This is where parents might need more attention at this time, as they will become the priority over career. So career will take a back seat for now. Now, this is also where the goat must behave in public, because they are under the microscope, and any bad behavior or outbursts will be on display for all to see. If you're a Capricorn, you don't want to be that Karen on TikTok, okay? Or that Ken or Karen, the male Karen. I'm just saying, if it's one sign that could get on TikTok and this happens to, it'll be a Capricorn, okay? So behave in public. Bite your tongue. I mean, don't sit there and don't take no shit, but, Be gracious as well. There's a time and a place for everything. And the stars are testing you, Capricorn. This placement can either make or break you, Capricorn. So think before you speak, think before you act. Aquarius. A lot of Aquarians will be writing books, have strong mental clarity, and even receive new wheels. You receive this dragon's head. This is in your third house of mental clarity, transportation, siblings, and groups. Relationships with siblings can grow stronger now, and new opportunities with communication are ahead. The tail is received in the ninth house of education, higher learning, travel, and laws. Anything that was started last year will need to be finished up and put to rest this year, but do not take on any new projects or courses until this dragon has moved. And be cautious when traveling to foreign lands and places. Pisces. A better year could be ahead for you, Pisces, as the dragon's head moves into your second house of wealth and money. Many opportunities are ahead for riches and investments and wealth. The self-esteem improves too. The tail is now received on the eighth house, making things a little difficult with legacy, death, and death news that comes your way in the next 18 months. You will have to remain strong through it all. And this could also represent a possible inheritance might prevail for you, Pisces. These are your 2023-2024 Aries Libra Dragon Axis energy. I hope you enjoyed this. I added this in for this year, and I kind of like doing it like this. And so Patreon, you don't only get the predictions, but you also get your own personal forecast as well. So this, like I said, these are your 2023-2024 Aries Libra Dragon energies. With an Aries Dragon head, there will be violent and warlike times ahead, but also a determination and drive to achieve success can prevail here. Now, by the time this dragon is over in January of 2025, I think we're going to see less about maybe Democrat, Republican, left and right. And it will be less about that and more about human injustices and tragedies. And a new Russia is ahead too. And what I mean by that is we're going to all realize that, oh my God, they're purposely keeping us divided. Some of us will realize that. There will still be ignorance and stupidity in the world. But exposure is going to come to the court systems and court justices as the Libra tail rides them directly, and lots of change is ahead. Now, my understanding is, I have to go and look, Justice Alito has a dragon's head in Aries. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't looked at his stars, but I'm going to kind of go and look at all the court justices and see where this dragon is, which one is being hunted the most. Please remember, everyone, a paradigm shift is here and a full restructure is here within our monetary system, geopolitical system, and humanity's general security. It will be about helping one another as a community. Jupiter is in Taurus, which rules wealth, abundance, and opportunities until May 25th, 2024. So use this benefic planet to your advantage, as this will help to aid in money, finances, and wealth. Now, I'm hoping that compassion and kindness within our citizens once again prevails after this dragon is done. We are going to have to expect the worst, but hope for the best. I say this with every dragon's energy, and take it one day at a time. I am wishing, all of you out there, a very safe transition into this dragon's energy. I want you all to be safe. Watch the stars as they are guided by celestial wisdom and even safety. And what I mean by that is knowing those red and green lights are going to save you. a lot of chaos, a lot of heartache. Blessings to all of you, and I'll be posting this. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. I hope all of you have a very smooth transition into the next Aries Libra axis. Blessings to all of you.